Hi loves, it's Elle and welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. I know we have a lot of new subscribers, so welcome so much to the Elle squad, and for all of my OGs, it's so good to see you again. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about blending eyeshadow. It's one of the most common questions I get. Why does my eyeshadow always look muddy? And I'm going to solve that question right now. Before we get going, hit the subscribe button, share this video with somebody you think might like it, and let's do it. Alright, so the reason why I have no other makeup on is because we're going to focus on the eyes today, and also I always put foundation on after my eye makeup is done. So let's talk about a couple of points when we're talking about blending eyeshadow. This is actually something that I used to train on when I worked at Sephora, and of course when I have mentored my assistants along the many years that I've done makeup. First thing is that I typically don't use an eyeshadow primer a lot, but I'm going to today so you guys can know that it does work, obviously, and it does elongate the wear of your eyeshadow. It also does have a tendency sometimes to help with the pigmentation of your eyeshadow. I know that a lot of makeup artists use them. I don't know, I'm just not a primer person. But all right, so after you use an eyeshadow primer, you want to give it just a few moments to set. My second tip is, you don't always have to do this, but we're going to be talking about blending the crease color to make sure that you don't get this kind of muddied look when you're trying to build up intensity in the crease and on the outside. So it's not just a one shadow kind of sweep over. We're talking about multi-level blending and making sure that we are able to see each color and how we get that done. My second tip that I don't always do, but I really encourage most people to do, is to use some, just grabbing a brush here, is to use some sort of a flesh tone colored eyeshadow. I can't tell you the exact one to use for you, but for me, it looks something usually like this. You will know which color looks the best on you. If you want to use a little bit of a brighter one to kind of brighten up this whole eye, that's totally cool, and that's what I do. I'm going to be applying this while I talk here. All right, so the reason why I recommend using some sort of base shadow, now you of course could use a translucent powder that would do the same thing, but using a base powder on the eye will help you a lot in blending the next shadows that you put on top of it. Have you ever heard of the trick where if you have too much darkness right here, you've gone in too heavy with your eyeshadow, just take a little bit of translucent powder and blend everything together with that powder? It's the same kind of philosophy. So now when we're working with two eyeshadow colors and wanting to make sure that they stand out, brush selection is very important, okay? The first brush I want you to look for is something that is more dense, and depending on how big your eye is right here, it fits that shape or that size. So for example, this is a great brush by Zoeva. This is a 234 Luxe Smoky Shader. Do you see how it is dense? It is compact, and it is on an angle. You see the angle right there? That's what we want, okay? So you're going to apply your color with the dense brush. Then to blend, you're going to blend with a blending brush, okay? This is why having quality brushes and brushes that are for different things are important. So for example, I really love, this is the Sigma E40 brush. This is a great blending brush. You also have a beautiful brush by BK Beauty, and this is the 202. That's great for blending. You could even use something like this. This is a fantastic brush by Sigma. It's the E25 brush, and this is perfect for blending too. The thing to take away here is to choose brushes that are the appropriate size for your eye. So don't go in with this big old blending brush if you do not have enough space to blend with that brush. Does that make sense? Okay, you don't want to go in and blend with this, because look at it. When you lay this on the eye to blend, where does it go? It goes up to your eyebrow already, okay? You need a brush that really fits in to your crease when you are blending, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a very soft transitional color, and we are going to go on the flat brush. So our first brush we talked about. The first step is to deposit color. Do not worry about blending on the first step. So we're going to deposit color in the socket. Okay, if you want to look down at your mirror down here like this, it'll be a lot easier because you can feel your socket. And a lot of you guys say, oh, I don't have a socket. Everybody has a socket. Whether it is a little bit more mono because it's flat, you still have a socket, or if it's covered by a hood, you still have a socket. You just need to open up that eye. So looking down at a mirror while you do this is going to be invaluable. So we're going to place color, place color, place color in tapping motions. And I like to place color in a small V. This is just really, I'm sure you guys have heard this before, really basic, you know, right here, just tap, tap, tap. Okay, so we have a stark line here, right? Do not go in full pigment. Go in with a little bit and then add some more. Take your blending brush. I have nothing on this brush. And you're gonna start to do windshield wiper motions. Stick it in that crease, okay? Stick it in that socket. Windshield wiping motions. Windshield wiping motions in a V. Windshield wiping motions, okay? And then gently with small circles, start to blend. Now, if you have a hooded deep set eye, or you have some wrinkles up here that kind of have a tendency to hide all of this work, this is where this comes in to be very important. Do not start blending up into your brow bone, okay? Start doing small circular motions, back and forth motions, working your way up until it blends into nothing. Yes? Okay, so even when you look at my eye, I still want to bring color up here a little bit more because I have a pretty strong brow bone. My eye is hooded and will continue to be such as I age. So we're going to go in again, same color, same brush, pushing color into that crease. We're going to intensify this crease. Intensify, intensify. We're not going any higher. We're just blending, packing product on, intensifying the color. I'll show you with a different brush so you guys can see what I mean. So I'm going to go in with the BK Beauty brush. I'm going to sink it into my socket and I'm going to do back and forth motions. Small, don't go all crazy. Small motions, back and forth, right down here. Circle motions, circle motions, circle motions. Let your brush come up a little bit onto that brow bone. Circle motions, back and forth. To get a really good blend, it takes a minute. And you want to make sure this is just blending away to nothing. Back and forth, little tiny motions. A lot of your blending brushes will be tapered, and that's also the reason why they're created that way, is because whenever you stick them into the socket and you are blending, if you want to blend away to nothing, you use the very tip of the brush and blend away to nothing. And this can take a minute. And if you didn't have that powder underneath, your brush wouldn't glide as good as it should. So do you see that now? How it's raising up onto that brow bone ever so slightly, and it's blended really efficiently. You can do that as many times as you need. So then to finish this off, what you can do is you can take your same blending brush, wipe it off on a towel, take a very small amount of your color, just like this, okay? Give a little tap on the back of your hand. Go right on top of that crease and give it another little blend. Give it another little blend. Now this is gonna be personal for me. I like to kick my eyeshadow out. It's up to you. And just really make sure this is going back and forth and blending. All right, I hope that makes sense. A couple of last notes before we move on to our second color. Your pressure on your brush is really important. I really urge you not to push too hard on your eye, because look at where the brush, so where the brush goes, pigment goes. So if you push too hard, you're going to push this up into that brow bone. You want to use a light pressure and blend it back and forth, okay? The same thing goes for your blending brushes. Do not do this. It's going to splay your brushes and your makeup's going to go where you don't want it to go. All right? Okay, so let's go on to our second color. We're going to take a deeper color. I'm going to go in with the chocolate brown, and I'm going to go in with the exact same brush that we used the first time. Now this is a preference, the way of layering colors. You can do this a bunch of different ways. I'm going to layer the darker color on the outside. Look at the way I'm depositing color. I'm tapping it in, okay? Tapping it in, right? And I want to saturate this color just ever so slightly. We'll worry about building up intensity as we go. Go right back into your blending brush. Go back and forth, into the crease. Back and forth, and into the crease. I really want to show you the pressure. I'm barely touching my eye. Barely touching my eye. I am wiping off my blending brush in between things because you don't need more product. Look at, I'm going back and forth, small circles. Back and forth, small circles. Okay? And because I've picked the right brush for my eye shape and for my eye size, it's not going out of the borders of where I want it to be. Make sense? I hope so. I hope this is helpful for you guys. And I like to kind of flick this out on the end and just give this blending on the outside ever so slightly a little bit more of love. And I'll do more of this after my, if I was wearing foundation, I would do more of this at the end. Okay, so for me, this looks really good. I don't necessarily would blend any or build up any more intensity, but you can, of course, go right back into your brush, blend in the intensity. All right, push it in, push it in. Take your blending brush, back and forth, and my pressure is really light again, back and forth, small circular motions, and into the crease. So that is how the eyeshadow gets really blended. You can see all of the colors, so I want to show you here. So you can see the darkest, you can see that the dark has been brought up here, but you also can see right up in here, the transition line softly kind of blended in. There's a transition color right here, softly blended in. So I hope you guys can all see that. So that is kind of what we're going for there. If you get any kind of, little lines in here, just take a clean brush. You can just go back and forth. It's the pressure too, you guys. It's so important to make sure that that pressure is really, really light, okay? All right, so that is it for the demonstration. I hope that this kind of clears things up on why some of your colors might be really muddy, maybe why your eyeshadow is traveling up into your eyebrow, and also how to control these shadows and make them do what they want. I also will tell you that this takes practice. I've been a makeup artist for almost 20 years, maybe like 16, 17 years. So it's taken me a long time to be able to do this on clients and myself. So don't get frustrated with yourself. Be patient, but you have to practice and remember that you can use those tools. I really highly recommend that use tools that are the size of the space that you're working on. And that actually goes for the whole face as well. So let me know, comment in the comment section below if this has helped you out, and I will see you on the next one. Lots of love from me to you. Bye, loves.